Welcome to season 2 of Empower Her Voices. This season marks a powerful new chapter as we amplify the voices and stories of remarkable change makers from Pakistan. And today's episode isn't just like a conversation, it's a wake-up call, a call to rise, to dream bigger, and to embrace the fire within. And our guest today has spent years transforming mindsets, challenging norms, and proving that true leadership is not about authority but about igniting change. And if you ever had doubted your potential, if you ever been told that you can't, this episode is your proof that you can. And today we have someone who doesn't just believe in potential but awakens it, challenges it, and pushes it beyond limits. There are leaders, and then there are forces of nature, individuals whose very presence ignites change, whose words awaken something deep within us, and whose journeys redefine what it means to rise beyond. And what such forces, Umair Jaliawala, are names synonymous with passion, transformation, and fearless leadership. A master storyteller, visionary entrepreneur, and one of the Pakistan's most electrifying motivational speaker. Umair has spent over 16 years shaping mindsets, breaking barriers, and inspiring generations. From walking away from the predictability of a corporate career to embracing the uncertain yet exciting parts of entrepreneurship, social impact, and leadership training, Umair has never followed convention, he has rewritten it. And as the CEO of Torque Corp, he has worked with global organizations, inspiring change makers and grassroots initiatives, proving that leadership isn't about authority, it's about awakening the greatness within others. But what truly sets him apart is not just his success, but his struggle, the moments of doubt, the setbacks, and the relentless pursuit of a higher purpose. He doesn't just teach resilience, he lives it. His journey is a testament to the idea that failure is not an endpoint, but a stepping stone to someone greater. So, Umair, that introduction barely scratches the surface of the impact that you have made it, and it's an honor to have you here. Welcome to Empower Her Voices Pakistani series.
Thank you, Faiza. You're very kind. I think that was a very long introduction.
But we truly mean it. It's something that's why I said it really scratches the impact that you've made. So Umair, first of all, thank you so much. Today we are actually starting the season 2, in which we will be sharing the triumphs of Pakistani nation. Earlier we have concluded our global series, and I really wanted to start this series from someone as inspirational as yourself, because you have been through a journey in which you have empowered people, and this episode is all about empowering. So like every inspiring journey has its moment of uncertainty. So what was the turning point that ignited your passion and gave you the courage to push forward, and how do you sustain that fire within you that keeps you going?
Yeah, I've been fiery, I think, since my childhood, and I had a lot
Okay.
of problems. And that was my
Hmm.
first rant as well, that, I think our biggest problem is that we don't have a problem. I don't think the turning point was one. Sure, when I
Okay.
talk about career, there is one, I'll come to that, but I think every time I had an audience in my school, every little applause that I got, laughter while performing, while doing something on stage, while being in the class, while leading something, I
Hmm.
think was a yes into a direction of being a change maker. And I saw myself
Yeah.
as that, and I would push a lot of things. Turning
Hmm.
point career-wise was the Young Leaders Conference. I think that brought
Okay.
it together because I saw a lot of people
Hmm.
on stage doing what I was thinking and what I wanted to
Hmm.
do. And it was a great way of enabling people, a great
Yeah.
way of pushing change forward. One
Hmm.
can fight it out or one can take it all on themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
either leads to, but this was the way of enabling so much. And I've seen so much happen with this. Um, I think one thing I always had in mind was that I'm a player on the pitch when I'm training, when I'm speaking,
Hmm.
there are good days and there are bad days. Like yesterday, we had a bad day in cricket.
Okay.
Sometimes you have a bad day in cricket,
Unfortunately.
and there could be many
True.
reasons. many reasons. The sound doesn't
Hmm.
reach, the people are not ready, you're not in your game, something else, but
Hmm.
I've always believed that you should have a good average. You should always work hard
Hmm.
in the nets. You should always show up on the job. And
True.
I think people should see that effort. And I think there's a different respect that you earn with that. I think that's what
Hmm.
drives me. A lot of people, of course, I got a lot of success, a lot of applause. But people admired that effort the most when, they saw my
Hmm.
hold up and they'd come and say, we've seen you not just on stage but making all of this happen and moving this audience. And I think that was quite a compliment. It was like people saw through
True.
me, putting myself,
Hmm.
and that has always gotten me going. So I'm very blessed. I feel that now. A lot of you would say, and I would have earlier said that, hey, I've earned it, but I do think that it's talent seeded, and I have gotten the right ground for it.
True, true. So it's like about that we should keep moving. We should not stop. May it be anything, right? Any day and every day we should just keep it going.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's
even
that's the
the
thing.
even if you're a cricketer, there comes a time when you will retire.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
not your end of cricket. Then there is something
Hmm.
else. You could coach, you could be a commentator, you could manage, you could do something else, still keeping you in
True.
touch with the ground. And I think that's
True.
what life and the adventure of life is. I think that's the biggest learning, that you evolve with it.
Exactly. And as you started that being on the pitch and when you're not there, you can be someone who can actually guide how to be good on the pitch. So that's how
Yeah,
like you can connect these things.
we do that
So
anyway. We do that anyway. Nature
hmm,
takes you to the if you choose to become a parent, you get into that role.
hmm,
And have you seen
exactly.
grandparents? What they're
Yes,
like?
yes. What a
Children.
big true. They're like,
So
the kid has like more than one parent. So we at first like we are the mother and father, and then they are the one, and then they are reparenting actually. So yes,
yeah,
that's the thing. That's great. So Umair,
and
like we just talking about this bit as you just mentioned about because the series is about like we are just trying to empower or inspire or to create awareness for the women out there, specifically the women in Pakistan and globally as well, who are somehow somewhere struggling with barriers, may it be like the barriers over here or the physical in their life. So fear and failure often stop people, especially women, from stepping into their full potential. That the but, what, and if, and from your own journey, what do you believe people hold most people back, and how did you break through moments when fear, step back is something that threatened someone to stop? Oh, don't do this because this will happen. Because this is something very general in most of the people, and the way you are going to overcome is something we need to learn.
yeah, I think like you said it, barriers, our fears, and that's the biggest hurdle. If you're able to rise above, if you're able to face them, imagine what life
Mm,
could be. And I think I
true.
saw that. I saw that
Mm,
whenever I broke my fear, and I'd invite all of you girls on that adventure. Face a fear every day. And it
okay.
could be as simple as maybe going live, putting out something
Mm,
that you have never put out, confronting somebody on something that you've long
mm,
held in
true.
your heart, maybe picking a new skill, doing something that people have been asking and you've been denying. But break, if you were in that pattern, imagine what a year looks like. And I've had that run for a long time. I came from Hyderabad. I came from a Maiman conservative family. My father was very watchful, and he's a certain kind. And I broke a whole lot of that when I got into my
Mm,
work. And every time I climbed a mountain, it became very easy. And what did I
mm,
have? The mountain? No, but something switched here. So fear
mm.
is here, and it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
all emotion appearing real.
Mm,
People say, what if I
yeah.
fail?
What I
And you can
feel.
go on that, you can go on to that track. And the opposite can also come true. What if
Hmm.
people support me? What if this works? What if I finally get
True.
funded? But we never go that
Yeah.
way. Now, what is
True.
faith?
True. Yeah, having
Which
the
voice,
courage that one can
which
do
voice
it.
is the voice of faith?
Hmm.
Where is
That
God talking to you,
hmm.
enabling you,
True.
pushing you forward? I believe that. I believe
Hmm.
in that call, and I believe in taking this step ahead, even when you're not fully ready.
Hmm.
And I think you're never fully ready. That's
Yeah.
exactly
True.
it.
True. You're
So
never
you
fully ready.
Yeah,
Yes.
you take on the 1,000 with your sword, even if you're 300. You go into the
Hmm.
fire, you know it can burn you, but your
Hmm.
belief is stronger. So face your fears
Hmm.
like that. Where there is a
Hmm.
voice of fear inside you, there's also a voice of faith. And I must tell you that the voice of faith inside me that I've always honored, and that, so when I don't honor, somebody else has to come and, that's nature's way to
Hmm.
remind somebody
Hmm.
else is going to come and tell you.
Exactly.
So you might pick it. But like
True.
Quran
True.
says that they see it not, they have the eyes,
Here, yes.
not they
It's
have the
here.
ears.
Yes. Yes.
Open those eyes and open those ears and listen to the voice of faith. And I've learned that faith is always pushing you forward. It's never
True. Very
distant.
well said.
And not
Very well
just you,
said. And
everybody
yeah,
else. That's the power of it.
everybody.
Because it's not
Yes.
scared. Hey, there is less. Hey, I'm gonna get less. Hey, if
Hmm.
if Pfizer gets the respect, I'm gonna. It's a
Hmm.
different realm. It's abundance.
You
So
have
I have
narrated it very like,
examples to tell you, but go on
hmm.
with your questions.
So it's really, I was just when you said voice of faith, this very amazing concept. So whenever the fear is bothering us or kind of making hindrance that, oh, if you're going to do this, what will happen? So the voice of faith should be, something that we should put our focus on that. So that's
Yeah.
that's an amazing message. So while taking it further, like there are many young girls are being told that their dream doesn't matter or that one mistake is going to define their future. So if you could speak directly to a girl or to a young woman out there who actually doubts herself and see, okay, fine. So, this is something that I've been told I cannot do it. Yes, the voice of faith is something very useful if she's going to offer. So, what would you tell her? And what is the one? Because there are a number of things. One believe that she must unlearn, not like learn, to step into that power, where she can have that, self confidence.
Hmm. That's a very loaded question. Want to start with. I want to start this argument with imagine a courtroom situation
Okay.
and put this girl, whether this girl is Faiza or Sana or whoever it is, put her in the as the
Okay.
criminal,
Okay.
and imagine who's the lawyer. And I'm reminding you of our creation. He
Okay.
he stood for us. He stood
Yeah.
for you and me. And he
True.
said, I'm going to be with you throughout. I'm
Hmm.
reconnecting this with the faith here. This is
Hmm.
looking at the bigger picture
Yeah.
that, and I do think that women, the biggest one is to get that validation from somebody else, even when you
Yeah.
know you're right,
Hmm. Hmm.
even when you know you're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter whether the person in front is a man or a minister,
Hmm.
but you
True.
know it
True.
and
Hmm.
that, standing by that,
Hmm.
because that's what he asked for. Now, answering it in different ways, there is nobody
Hmm.
quite like you, Faiza.
Okay.
Nobody has ever been on this planet who carried your fingerprints.
True.
And not just that, your feelings. And not
Hmm.
just that, your thoughts. You're a world in your own self.
True.
And definitely your soul. And
Hmm. So yeah.
we like you. So you
Hmm.
have the right to be. And you're designed to be this way. Now, sure, there are edges that you need to refine. Don't imagine that you're perfect in the way you are,
Hmm. True.
but believe this about yourself at the core of it, that you don't owe the world any justification. You don't owe anybody any explanation. You don't need to qualify for any beauty contest, for
Hmm.
anybody's. whatever criteria. I have always believed that about myself, and that's what I teach.
mm,
You are
mm,
designed to be distinct, and you have to
mm,
recognize that. Now that distinction can be, I have a lot of silly things about myself. While I
mm.
talk a lot of falsafa with you, there's some really stupid things. I think
Okay.
that's the human experience.
Mm,
Don't go too far in cursing your own self. That's the second for me. That's what women do. That's what girls do. Pushing yourself down so much, being your biggest enemy. It's not people saying it. It's you saying it to
mm,
yourself in the mirror. It's your fear.
yeah.
You don't hear as
True,
much bad
true.
as what you imagine.
Mm,
So
true.
second one is, that, and lastly, I do think that times have changed, and women
Mm,
in their own minds should come out of this. The
mm,
time is very ripe. Everywhere I go, there are women. There are women on the boards. There are women in
true.
leadership positions.
Yeah.
There are women preferred because there have been women missing at key positions in the key
Yeah.
panels. So if
Mm,
you're young, if you're bright, if you're performing, so step out of,
mm,
I think that step ahead is what you need to take for your own self. So yeah, these three things.
yeah.
Don't seek a lot of validation, justifications. You
No,
don't
it's not validation.
explanation. Number two, don't go the downward spiral, cursing yourself too bad. And
Mm,
number three, please reset your own mind. The world is different. And a
reset
lot of
your own mind.
yeah,
That's a reset. We need to reset our mind. That's something really great. So, Umair, it's like about what you have said is that we really need to own our individuality, right? It's about like you
sure.
have said that, in this
You're not
entire universe, please carry on.
If you are not going to, who will?
Oh, well, exactly, exactly.
If you're not going to
Mm,
express it, the world wouldn't even see it. The
true.
wealthiest place I learned from Les Brown is the graveyard. It has a lot of talented Umairs who died with their talents, who could
Mm,
not
true,
read their
true.
words, who could not sing that song, who could not paint that painting. They were doing a corporate job, Pfizer, or probably
Mm,
some
true.
job back
Yeah.
at the time.
They were not able to portray their
Express your
passion.
distinction, own
Yeah.
it, and
Oh,
own
yeah.
it, and not just in the with vanity, but also with vulnerability,
Yes,
because it comes
vulnerability.
with
That's right.
things that you need help with, and I think that's the best way
Mm,
of connecting with others as well. When you ask for it,
true.
when you know what is it that
Exactly.
you will struggle with.
True, true. And it's really important to, reach out to those like-minded individuals. For example, if I want to do something, or if any other young girl is good in poetry and she thinks that she can be a very good poet, so she can actually reach out to people who have done a lot, because then sitting or communicating with like-minded people can actually give her an edge. Okay, fine, because she has the passion, but to get the details of different genres or how to do it, like the theoretical bit. So yes, it's like the merge of both these things. So Umair, talking about your legacy, right? Because you have said that okay, there was a journey, and then the best thing was that you always had belief in yourself and you listen to that voice in your head. So when you reflect on your journey, what is the legacy that you hope to leave behind, and how do you want your story to inspire the next generation, may it be the young girls or boys out there, or because this is something I'm asking from a global perspective. So because you just mentioned the concept of the graveyard, that fine people are there, they were unable to, or they didn't intentionally, but you, as Umair Jaliawala, has stepped out and pursued his passion and now empowering generations. So we would really like to know what is there in your mind or in your heart that this is going to be my legacy behind, which will keep on inspiring people.
Thank you. You're very kind, Faiza. I'm going to keep saying that.
My
You say a
pleasure.
lot of
My
nice
pleasure.
things about me. And I do think I had, the perfect time. I was a cool kid in the block, youngest trainer, and cool in the way of,
Mm,
how I was doing my work and
yeah.
engaging audiences. And it did
Mm,
a lot of young trainers, and a lot of change happened. And I've seen young people like their journeys, and a lot of them are very kind to attribute pieces of it, how it started,
mm,
and, and how different barriers were resolved, by attending whatever work we were putting out. Um, I saw my legacy as organizations earlier. I was
okay.
very young. I saw it in structures. I saw it in, and I
Right.
would count designations and organizations. When you're a young
Okay.
person, you want to flash it out. Hey, I run three companies. I run two.
Mm,
And we
okay.
had pretty cool gigs in those organizations. But I later learned that, it's all gonna go away.
Mm,
The real impact is those stories that people will have about you and me,
mm,
and we should be scared, and we should work towards a good story. And that good story does mean that you're going to have a good finish, right? It's going to be a strong
that's
finish.
true. True.
So, um, so I later learned that, the impact was the people, all the people we
Mm,
touched through our work, conferences, workshops, retreats, whether as School of Leadership, as the School of Leadership Foundation, which were my earlier organizations,
mm,
and Torque, which has always been my corporate gig.
mm,
And then I added to the canvas. I was just limited to people. And then I learned
mm,
that, hey, people are not the only living, and their living is terrible without the other living, which is plants and animals.
mm.
So
Yeah.
now and I feel I'm young, Faiza, so I don't think of the
Mm.
end soon. I do think I have a good run, inshallah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
inshallah.
3 4 decades of work, if it's,
Inshallah.
so I like to work towards a um, good close, but not just on people, but having
Mm,
grown a lot of people, a lot of
mm.
plants, and a lot of animals, to have
Yeah.
grown, fostered
Mm,
life, and not in the
mm,
traditional, not in the
mm.
commercial way, not in the
Right.
classroom way, but in the
True.
organic, in the spirit of how it was meant to be, and how
Mm,
we catch on. These three interact with each other and can actually foster each other to better growth.
mm.
To so I'm finding those cross sections now with my
Okay.
new entity, and that's going to be coming out soon. It's called From Zero. So yeah,
Okay.
that's building up. So yeah, it's the stories, it's the change in people who we have touched.
Mm.
uh, that's a real impact, and now I would like to expand the canvas and make it to all living.
Great. Great, great. So I really liked it when you said that in community, it's not just the human being, plants, insects, animals. So this is something, being more considerate towards what is around us, all the living beings. Because yes, plants are like something, they do communicate, they do have feelings, and that's really something nice. So you
Yeah.
just mentioned about that, that the impact that you're creating on people, that is something which matters for you. So if we talk about those young women or those girls who have just started their married life and they have kids or family setup, or if they're stepping into their professional life, how do you see the importance, or you can even, agree or disagree with this, do you see the importance of mentorship if that housewife sitting in XYZ area of Pakistan said that, okay, fine, I'm good with my family, everything, but apart from that, I want to, have I want to go for something. So in this whole process, is mentorship or getting guidance from inspiration is important? Coaching, I would rather use the word coaching is more appropriate. So how important is coaching and mentorship to actually get hold of something which is there in you? You know that you need to do it, but then you need to connect. So do we need to rely on mentors, or is it something that we can just listen because the information is out there? There's a whole lot of information out there. So, do you see any importance of mentors and coach?
I'd answer this in two statements. One,
Right.
for coaches, there is no Kohli, there is no Nadal,
Hmm.
there is no superstar without a coach. So
Hmm.
if you don't have one, you're probably not going to become one.
Okay. Right.
Mentor, it's the same. जिसका कोई उस्ताद
Hmm.
नहीं, वो किसी का उस्ताद नहीं.
This is the something. That's very well
So
known, but
if
yeah.
you don't have a mentor, you can't be a mentor. It's heart to heart,
Hmm.
like the tradition teaches
Hmm.
us. And the work that
Hmm.
I leadership is not frameworks and models and ladders. It's
Hmm.
people touching people. It's people
Yeah.
changing people. It's people making them believe in better ideas. And sure, through works, through books sometimes, but it's again people at the end of the day. It's never gonna
Hmm.
be a bot. I don't believe that.
Hmm.
And it needs that touch. It needs that human. It needs that story. That's how we transform. Um, yeah, I lost track of your question.
So yeah, you have actually answered very well that जिसका कोई उस्ताद नहीं वो किसी का उस्ताद नहीं हो सकता. So yes,
Oh, yes,
it was about the
mentor.
importance
Yes,
of,
I would
yeah,
suggest, and I would say that hey, identify if you're a slacker,
yeah,
identify if you're bad at something, like if you're a girl entrepreneur,
hmm,
if you're starting out, if you have already been in the adventure, you know by now what is it that you're struggling with, and there is no
hmm,
harm.
hmm,
There is no harm.
hmm,
Try it out. There are many coaches who are going to give you a free session, and
hmm,
coaching is for future, and it can help you to have somebody keep track of what you're doing, what you commit to do. If the coach has a lot of solutions for you, they're not a good coach, by the way. The coach
okay,
should in line in this line, helping
hmm,
people.
hmm,
This kind of coaching, this is not sports coaching, right? In this
right,
kind of
right,
coaching, you've got to help people, help Faiza figure out her own
hmm,
solutions, and a good coach
right,
will help
right,
you do that.
okay,
Sure, they might make you think of things that you're not thinking of. At the same time, I'd also advise some functional coaching. There is no harm if you're
right,
bad at
hmm,
marketing, if you're bad at branding, if you're bad
hmm,
at, let's say, keeping the numbers, if you're bad at leading the ops, if you're bad at, connecting with people, whatever it is, you could have
hmm,
that, functional piece also, get into that
right,
guidance coach. Mentors वो होते हैं जिनको आप लुकअप करते हैं. mentors आपके
yeah,
काम में सालों आगे हो सकते हैं. समटाइम्स बहुत यंग और ब्राइट हो सकते हैं. उनसे आप
hmm,
कभी कभी मिलते हैं. और उनसे आप दिल की बात कर सकते हैं. और
true,
their word can save you, like Rumi said. And I think Steve Jobs also said that, I'd trade
hmm,
all my technology for an evening with Socrates.
ah,
And he
wow,
did quite a bit of
wow,
he did
yes,
quite a bit of tech work. He changed 5 industries.
so he says
I'm gonna
that,
trade
yes,
all of that for an evening
he
with
did,
Socrates. Rumi said
hmm,
a good teacher can save you. I don't know how many years of being lost. That's the
hmm,
level I assign to mentors.
hmm,
So have some, and you don't have to have one. Have different for different aspects of life sometimes. So, but
right,
it's
right,
it's good. Sometimes like I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, and we need that too. We
hmm,
need the other. We need to talk to make sense of what's going on in our own minds. Therefore, many a times we're
hmm.
not really listening to other. We're just not even talking to the other. We are making sense of our own crap, I would say.
True, 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 true. Yeah, very true,
Yeah.
very true. And yes, it's so you've like actually explained it very like it's very relatable, and I'm sure the women out there can actually pick a lot of out of it. That as he has mentioned, that mentorship is about that they are you can have a heart to heart conversation with them, and coaching is all about giving you the direction. You have that thing in your mind, they'll guide you. Okay, fine. This is how you can grow, or you can be more better in that. So, Umair, before I, jump to the last one, but before that, I would really like to ask one thing that, you have mentored like thousands and thousands of, girls and women and boys out there. And I'm sure they must be from different professions. It's not just one profession. There's a lot I have attended your sessions like while I was in Roots. So it was regarding that Dastanesh, and it was really inspirational. It used to give us goosebumps, literally. And people, I'll be really honest, when the teacher development conference was going on, so that was the session when all the teachers, men or women, they were like, "Oh, we have to attend the session." Why? Because you used to connect with the people on very we as educators we used to say that We need to have real life application of what's going in the classroom. So you used to tell us that the real life application of your passion into your life. So that's what the translation. So while pursuing towards passion, if we talk about the ground realities, at times women are supporting their families, they are contributing for their kids and husband because the times have been changed. There's a lot of financial pressure. So if they have certain thing in hand and they'll go towards the profession, they might need to compromise on something that they're doing right now. And because of that, they end up losing the passion. And then when they're like, at certain time, they'll say, oh, okay, I have to lose. Why? Because if at that time I pursued my passion, again, that, the faith bit and the voice, because they didn't hear that. So, in this situation, because there are couple of women out there who ask this thing, and obviously I'm not the right one to answer this, you're the right one to answer this question. How do cater with that? Because then they have that guilt inside. Okay, I am a finance manager, or I'm strategic manager or something, like, but I wanted to become something else. I wanted to become a journalist, or I wanted to become a singer. So how to deal with that thing which is going over here, due to which you're neither hi, hello, is your son?
Yeah, he's Rustam.
What's his name?
Rustam.
Rustam, what a beautiful name. Rustam, how are you? Hello. Good to see you, Rustam. So Umair, how will you, guide us for this thing? Because this is something which is a
Yeah.
problem with almost all the women, specifically if we talk about, the profession one. Only 20%, even, I guess I'm quoting more, 10% are those who are actually in the profession where they wanted to, and rest are saying, we wanted to become that, magar nahi ho saka. So how do they cater with that?
या देखें, जो नहीं हो सका वो नहीं होना था.
ठीक है.
पास्ट को ऐसे देखते हैं,
Okay.
राइट.
Hmm.
अब जो होना है वो आपने फैसला करना है.
Hmm.
That's a very easy hack. You can't change
Right.
anything about the past. Don't go too
True.
deep. Don't curse yourself. And if you look back, it will make sense. When we will look
Hmm.
back at our lives, everything makes sense. Every
True.
people, every experience makes sense. मैंने वहाँ पे internship क्यों की, मैंने उस वक्त ये क्यों किया, देखो उस वक्त मैं part time में क्यों पढ़ गई, मैं तो ये
Hmm.
सेंस बनता है उस वक्त. लेकिन
Hmm.
इस वक्त नहीं बन रहा, राइट.
It's done.
लेकिन इस वक्त
Hmm.
अगर आपके अंदर इतनी ज्यादा तलब है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू हैव बीन इन द हाउस एंड इफ यू
Hmm.
फील लाइक यू नीड टू बी इन एक्शन, just go for it. If you are in
Hmm.
action and if you feel you're not able to balance,
Hmm.
change the dynamics of the action.
Okay. Right.
It's 2025. There is remote
Hmm.
work out there. You earn far
Yes.
more working on remote jobs than
Hmm.
you do in physical jobs in this country at this point.
Very
You
true.
are in any
Very true.
case being underpaid.
Hmm.
Teachers are underpaid mostly, right?
True.
But they
True.
have brilliant skills. उनसे
Hmm.
माटी स्किल्स वाले फाइबर चला के नए
Oh.
अरबपति बने हुए इस मुल्क
सही
के
कह रहे हैं.
आप बने हुए.
Upwork and Fiverr.
अब चलाएं.
ये बात है. आप
चेंज
चलाएं.
करें
True.
डायनामिक्स, शिकायत छोड़ें. Right, life
Hmm.
is about choices, and if something is
बिल्कुल
cooking
सही.
up, like I said,
Hmm.
maybe this, and I do believe that, for even for men, I do believe that marriage, having children, changes the game. I
Hmm.
feel that as a man, as a man, we're
Hmm.
not like how men used to be. We're very
Hmm.
conscious about spending time with children, being there. And so,
Hmm.
yes, things change drastically, but I take that as part of life.
Hmm.
Yes, sure,
Right.
there are complaints and have those times, do that writing. Humans are never really fulfilled, even with the best of their bias.
True.
So there is a
True.
discipline with everything. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
of it is very shaitani. Therefore, we are grateful and grateful
True.
even for pains and miseries because they
Hmm.
prepare us for better adventures.
Yeah.
And now you might ask me, what's the bigger adventure? And I will give you a very depressing response, or no, a
Hmm.
very inspiring response that, hey, even if there is no bigger adventure, your
Okay.
misery here will be paid back better.
Hmm.
So, and I don't think any mom would recount giving time to her children as miserable.
Should not. True.
But
Should
she
not.
would definitely say spending more time at work, even not
Yes.
mothers, men at the end of their
Hmm.
life. "Yeah, I wish I had done less of it." So I'm asking
Yeah.
all of you to be very smart, think
Hmm.
creative, and rework. Lastly, I've learned this toolkit and I've been teaching that. It's a 4A
Okay.
formula, which I think can be
Okay.
very so
Right.
avoid. That's the first A. There are
Okay.
many
Avoid.
just avoid. भाभी ने ये कहा, नंद ने ये कहा, सास ने ये कहा,
Hmm.
मौम ने ये
Hmm.
कहा। भाई काम की बात थी, उससे कुछ निकलना था तो ठीक है। कोई
Hmm.
बहुत उन्होंने फीडबैक दिया है, किसी चीज़ की निशानी की है, वो ऐसी बात कर रही हैं किसी और के बारे में या जनरल अपनी चैटर कर रही हैं, आप उस पे ऑब्सेस
True.
कर रहे हैं, आप उस पे स्ट्रेस
Hmm.
ले
Hmm.
There's a lot happening in the country. You can take the stress of all of that. I've done
Yeah.
that. It's not a good idea. Avoid the news.
Avoid the news. Yeah.
And
Big time.
avoid toxicity in life. Avoid
Hmm.
avoid what's not helping you. If you are not married to them, you can. If you're not married to them, born to them, or have given
Right.
birth to them, you can pretty much avoid
You
everybody.
can, yes. True.
So
True.
avoid what's not helping. Number
Okay.
two, alter.
Alter.
That's
Okay.
where successful women are different. They're able
Hmm.
to ask the other to change.
All right.
Can you please do this for me? Can we
Hmm.
work it out this way?
Okay.
And assert yourself where needed. Ask for a
Hmm.
different option. Alter what's causing the
Hmm.
misery. If it's somebody's behavior, ask them to change it. There are
Hmm.
nice ways of asking people.
Yes. True.
There are people who can ask people.
Yeah.
So
True.
ऑल्टर कराए अगर आप नहीं करवा सकती ऑल्टर अब आपके पास क्या ऑप्शन है अब आपके
जी.
पास दो ऑप्शन है एक आप अडेप्ट करना सीखें
Right.
जो भी हकीकत है आई हैव हैड सम ब्रिलियंट वुमेन आवर एंड आई हैव ऑलवेज
Hmm.
वर्क विद bosses and they had their
Hmm.
family and they were pretty good
Hmm.
they were pretty disciplined
Hmm.
and had after a certain age children are very busy, they're busy with schools, they have their
Yes.
own activities
True.
and you need that morning connect. And if you're back in
Hmm.
time at the time one of them would go half day, the other would work
Yeah.
full day, and
True.
they manage. So um if you're able to think of what options do you have in your own mind, how can you adapt,
Hmm.
you can even think of having fun traffic jams. You can have very
Hmm.
creative airport stuck-ups. You can,
Hmm.
humans have amazing ability to adapt to situations. You just need to turn on good
True.
music. You can do
Hmm.
something, you can be on the call. There are many things to do, even in the stuck-ups and the jams, and even with the terrible most people. And
Hmm.
if you've exhausted all three options, if you can't avoid, if you can't alter, if you can't adapt, then learn to accept. This is
Hmm.
not a
Very
perfect world.
important.
Right now we are
Yes. Yes.
accepting a lot of bullshit from a lot of
Hmm.
powerful people. I don't think we should be
True.
accepting it, but when it comes to our
Hmm.
own life, when it comes to our
Yes.
closest relationships, bonds that we need to protect,
Hmm.
when it comes to things that we can't alter as human beings, we need to bow
Hmm.
our head down and
We need to
accept it
work.
for what it is. There
Hmm.
are people living in war. There are mothers losing their children by headshots. You can always think of the worst.
Hmm.
You're
Yes.
kicking right
Yes.
now. This brain is functioning. This heart is, just put your hand on your heart. Heartbeat should
Hmm.
remind you that, hey, there is life.
Be
And if there
grateful.
is
Yeah.
life, it's not over.
This
And
not
if it's
over.
over, you have no right to put yourself down so much. That's exactly
Hmm.
what it means to be a kafir,
True.
literally.
Now
Being
maybe. Yes.
Naumidi.
बिल्कुल
So
बिल्कुल कि
have
ना उम्मीद ही कुफ्र है यस मायूसी कुफ्र है very well said and Umair I couldn't agree more it's about like we need to be more grateful the things that we have rather than focusing on past ke jo guzar gaya wo guzar gaya. Let's talk about what we have in hand. And the four A's that you just like shared, I don't think so that anyone will be not able to pursue with those like first three. Either it's first one, adapt, or being assertive. I guess the alter one is something really nice. Others are also good, but this is something that every woman can do it, because women have the tendency, you're very, very true, to, adapt as per the situations, whether they are in different places, in-laws, with their parents or in professional life. That's very true. So before that, it's a kind of, the relatable trade chess that you've just shared. And I'm sure with the women out there, um, whatever Umair has shared right now, it's all something that you can do. It's not that you need to acquire certifications to do that. It's in your own self, it's in your individuality. You just need to step out. So Umair, if before that we wrap up, like if you could leave every listener with one final spark of wisdom, though you have already shared a lot, not just to have, but to feel, believe, and become, what would it be? Like, yes, again, I must be saying that there's a lot that you've shared. But then again, that one final spark at the end, what would it be?
Yeah, I do think a lot of us believe that we're not enough, and
True,
we want to have it all. We have a lot of fear
yeah,
of missing out in today's times. We're looking at,
true,
the highlight of somebody else's life,
yeah,
and I think there's a lot of ego in all of that. मैं ये चाहता हूँ,
mm,
मैं. And I
true,
think
true,
we need to shift it to presence. Be
mm,
present wherever you are. You're
mm.
not at the beach today, but you're gonna be at the beach. When you're at the be at the
One
beach.
day,
When
yeah,
you're on
true,
StreamYard, be on StreamYard. It's not a
true.
fun idea to be on the beach when you're on StreamYard. Being
Very
where
well said.
you are, with who you have around,
Mm,
with what you have. And hey, don't just be grateful, be resourceful. Act on it, play on it. The people you have is the orchestra you have. You can still do very good music. There's a lot of, things
true,
that come out of the raw and can become wonderful things.
true,
And they don't all have
yeah,
to. Sometimes it's just for the time of it because we were together. We should
yes,
make it
true.
worth it. I
Absolutely.
don't know if you believe it or not, but I do, that this had to happen today, of all the years of knowing you and you knowing me. लेकिन ये आज होना था. मैं अब ये बिलीव करता हूँ.
Yeah,
मैं ट्रेनिंग में जाके कहता हूँ,
yes.
मुझे आपसे आज यहाँ पे मिलना था. Let's
All
find
right.
out why. I also had to see
Okay.
you. It's not just, my participants. I also had to see you. Maybe you had to
Mm,
ask me something today that I had to remind myself of. So thank
mm.
you very much for this opportunity. Be present
No,
where you
that's good.
are.
What a powerful conversation. Umair, thank you for sharing your journey and unstoppable energy with us today. And your words are spark that will definitely ignite countless minds and hearts. And as we wrap up this first episode of season two, let this be a reminder that breaking barrier isn't just about inspiration. It's about action. It's about daring to challenge limits, about believing in yourself, as Umair has said. And when no one else does, and about using your voice to create the change you wish to see. Thank you for being part of this journey. Stay tuned for more stories that empower, uplift, and spark transformation.